Hey guys, how we doing out there? Welcome back to Football or Soccer TV. And Brentford won, Man United won, and what a crappy performance we had to witness as everyone, not even United fans, just everyone, crappy performance that you had to witness. That if you saw that game and you wasted 90 minutes of your life to watch a football match thinking it was going to be a great match, I am sorry. Like, I apologize on behalf of, all United fans. I'm sorry, dude. But if you're a United fan and you expected, us to play good, I don't blame you. And to be honest, I'm not surprised that we ended up playing the way we did, and we got that result at the end. I am not surprised at all because this team does it again and again and again. You beat Liverpool. We're on a high for 2 weeks in the international breaks. We're on a high. We're buzzing. There's so much positivity back into the club. All the Eric Ten Hageners are back. Back the manager. My players, my managers. We're on the positivity train again, and we just have like this 2 weeks of just yes, I'm happy to be a United fan. I'm proud, and then we go and put off a performance like that and get a result like that where we can't even beat Brentford. No offense to Brentford, but they deserved to win the game, like 100%. No offense to them, they are where they are because they can't finish. They can't finish for crap at all. Like, oh, and there goes my there goes my thing. But Brentford are, don't get me wrong, they're a good team with decent players, but the reason where they are is because they can't finish, and that's the only reason why we didn't lose today. Can you guys name me like 5 anyone that's not a Brentford fan or doesn't watch a lot of Premier League or anything like that, is not really too familiar. Can you guys name me 5 Brentford players, 6 Brentford players? And out of those 6 Brentford players, besides like Tony, obviously, can you guys name me a player that will go into a top 4 squad? Malpe, Ayer, Mbuemo, maybe. I know a bunch of it through the top of my head. I know, but I can't really name them. Like, are you telling me that these players are better than our players, right? Because people want to wax lyrical about our players, saying that oh, Bruno's the best, Bruno's world class. Rashford in his day is world class. Garnacho, oh my God, the next Ronaldo. We're Hoyland. I don't want to get too much on him, but all these players that we think are great and we rate, right, as United fans, Kobe Mainu, and all these players that should be beating Brentford. Let's get it right. Those players I named right there should be beating Brentford comfortably. But the reality is we got what we deserved. Actually, we didn't, because we deserved to lose that game. Like, honestly, we didn't deserve to even get a point from that game. We scumbagged it. We almost scumbagged it in the end. I celebrated it. I was happy because at the end of the day, I want the 3 points and I want United to win. That's the main thing that I want. But at the same time, I am also happy that we did not get away with it. Because we can't keep getting away with it. We can't. We can't keep getting away with scumbagging wins and scumbagging results when our football is absolutely atrocious. It's disgraceful. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed, and I'm sorry if you spent, like I said, I'm sorry if you spent your time watching that football, but I am not surprised. Brentford had 31 shots on goal to our 10, 11? Come on, dude. That's like triple. That's triple. Like, we gotta really deep it. Like, this is like triple the amount of shots. They had 14 corners to our like 4. If you're on like if you're a betting man and you're like a FanDuel or any betting company, right? There's a tab where you can bet how many corners in the whole game throughout between both teams. And you can bet whether it's under 10 corners or over 10 corners, whatever, throughout the whole game. Brentford had 14 corners just on their end. And there are teams and games where there's like 9 corners, 8 corners between both games. Brentford had 14. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, there's just no excuse for anything. There is no excuse. I don't want to hear about injuries. I don't want to hear about fatigueness, because we had 2 weeks off. And yeah, some people want an international break. That's fine. We get it. Some people didn't even play international break. So there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for this manager, because he's the one that sets up this team. He's the one that leaves Kobe Mainoo. He's the one that puts Kobe Mainoo next to Bruno, next to McTominay, who aren't even helping him out in any way, just letting him out to dry. He's the only player who could take the ball and move the ball and dribble with the ball and advance. And advance to the final third. He's the only player that can do that. Technically, he's the only technically gifted player in that midfield. You're leaving him out to dry. Whose fault is that? Who's the one that's setting up our players? Who's the ones that's setting up our formations? Our bench was stacked. Stacked. Why can't we just come up with a decent lineup? Why does this manager keep playing the same players that have let us down week in, week out? What more do you want to see? Rashford, dreadful, man. How many times are you getting in that position and you're literally one-on-one and you just run straight at the guy? Like, you don't even try. You're just running straight at the guy. You're just running into a brick wall. Same thing with Garnacho. Garnacho's been picking the same thing up. Just running straight into the player without even like thinking. He just does it. And to me, it's like, what's the whole point of trying to keep these players, trying to play these players, right? If you know what you're going to get. At least with Anthony, like, we can, like, as much as we slate him, right? If we want to play a certain way and keep the ball and keep the possession, right? We got to play players like that. If we're not going to keep no possession with Rashford and Garnacho. Højlund today was really poor. It was one of his most poor games. He looked like the Højlund when he went on that 16-match drought. He looks like that Højlund again. But I don't want to put too much blame on him, although he was crap today, because he's our only outlet as a striker. And yeah, and we can talk about all day about him not creating, like, the people not creating chances around him, not giving him the chances. That's a super valid reason. I totally hear that. But at the same time, this guy shouldn't be our main striker. Like, he's young and we're just leaving him out to dry. Like, we're not even giving him a chance. We're surrounding him by these crap players and letting him out to dry. Like, of course he's gonna be crap. No player is gonna ever improve with crap players around them. No player is ever gonna improve when they don't have another top striker behind them. When they don't have competition. When they don't have senior players that are telling him, like, senior attackers. Like, like, we obviously we have Casemiro and Varane, but people who have done it all and are experienced in strikers to actually learn something from. Who is he learning from? Rashford? From Garnacho? From Anthony Martial? Come on, man. Like, it's pathetic. And like, I've been Erik Ten Hag out since we lost to Bayern, even that 1-0, because that was just embarrassing to me. Like the whole season has been. But I don't understand how these people could look at this team and look at these players and be like, yes, give the manager another year. I understand if you want him to the summer. I don't. I want this guy gone. I don't care who comes in at this point, as long as it's not Southgate. I don't care who comes in, man. I don't. But this manager cannot be given the time for another year. It cannot happen. Even if he wins an FA Cup, we will all celebrate. We will all be happy, of course. But it will not paper over any cracks that this season has been one of the worst seasons I have ever seen as a United fan. One of the worst. Obviously, the season is not over, so I can't say it's the worst because there's still things, there's still games to play, But it is one of the worst, and it's almost gonna equal the record of David Moyes in losses. The worst manager post Fergie. We're almost gonna equal his record. Like, I don't get what more do you want? Like, what more evidence do you want to see? Like, we've seen enough to know that nothing is ever gonna be sustainable with this manager. It's not. Because even with the amount of players that he has, even with the quality that he has, it's not much, but it's some, and it's definitely better than Brentford's, it's definitely better than Fulham's, it's definitely better than Everton's. We've seen enough that this manager cannot get the best out of these players. So what's the point? What's the point of trying to get in players, specific players for the specific style that Erik ten Hag wants to play, right? Because people keep saying, and he keeps saying, that we need the right players, right? We need the right players. How many years is that going to take? How many years is that going to take for us to get the right players? How many years? To get everybody out. And not on top of that, he's got some of his players already. He's got Anthony in. He's got Martinez in. He's got Onana in. He had Donny van de Beek here in this team. He had more than enough backing from the board. He's had his players in here. And what makes you think that we're gonna give this guy more players for him to just put us into deeper trouble, into deeper crap? We just know already. I know already that even with the recruitment, even with the structure, this guy cannot coach. This guy cannot get the best out of the players that we have. This guy cannot get the best. If he cannot get the best out of the players that we have and that he brought, what makes you think that he's going to get the best out of players that the structure brings, that Dan Ashford brings, that Ineos brings? What makes you think that he's going to get the best out of those players? If he can't even get the best out of his own players, like, what's the logic in that? I don't get it. To you all Erik ten Hag inners, it must be out of hope. It must be out of hope. That's the only thing, because the evidence is there. The evidence is there, and it's just, and it's also maybe you're afraid of change because all these players can't keep getting away with it, bro. What players? He has most of his players in already. What are you talking about? The fact that he's like, oh, we only have a couple players from previous regimes. We still do, but he's been backed, and he can't get the best out of these players that he has currently. So I've seen enough from this guy. I've seen enough from from these players as well. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm going in on the manager heavily. These players at the end of the day are not good enough to win a title. And we all know that as fans, as United fans. We all know that. Bar Kobe Mainu and maybe a couple others, right? We know that these players aren't good enough. And in key positions. We need players in like 10, like key positions. 8. Thank God we have Mainu. Center backs, full backs, strikers, wingers. These are key positions for a team to function. Like, I don't know what more to say. I really don't. I really don't, man. I'm just embarrassed about this whole result, and to be honest, I'm not surprised. I am not, because I bet a lot And I already knew, and I was doing a parlay, and I was like, you know what, this I know it's not gonna happen. I know United's not gonna win, so I didn't bet on it. Of course, because I can't trust my players. I can't trust this team. But anyway, guys, on we go to the next, and honestly, top 4 is done, top 5 is done. Count us out. I just want the season to be over. Let's win the FA Cup, get the structure we need, and go again next year with another manager.